it sounds like it's going to take a long time. I'm just like
pretty far ahead from a lot of the competitors there.
Now I see more opportunities to be out there.
Show people what roofers eat for lunch.
You're listening to the Roofing Success Podcast, a show created to inspire roofing contractors to achieve optimal success in their roofing businesses. I'm the host, Jim Aline, the co-author of the books Internet Marketing for Roofing Contractors and The Best Known Roofer. I'm also the co-founder of Roofer Marketers, the leading digital marketing agency for the roofing industry. On each episode, I sit down with industry leaders to talk about their processes, the lessons they've learned, and how to find success in roofing. Hey, welcome to another episode of the Roofing Success Podcast. If you haven't, there's those buttons, subscribe, follow, all of those, hit those. Then if there's a review button, write a few words for us. Praise, words of praise we would prefer, right? But if you feel a different way, go ahead and write that too. Today we have my man, Roofman Rob, Custom Construction Solutions, Albuquerque's finest. What's up, man? How are you?
Hey, Jim, pleasure to be on the podcast with you. We're doing great. We're actually out here in Dallas at our new location.
Oh, nice, man.
Sunny with a chance of money. I'm sitting here in a local coffee shop participating in this podcast with you. The guys are out locking up deals, helping homeowners out across the area here. Just had a good hailstorm, early one for the season out here. So we're taking full advantage of it.
Nice, man. So the expansion is underway.
Yes, most definitely. The vision is big. The team is hungry, and we're here to do it.
Awesome, man. Well, let's go back a little bit. Let's go back in time a little bit. How did you find yourself in this business?
So, ironically enough, I got one of those accidental stories. I grew up in the construction industry. My father was a general contractor, and one day we got a big job here locally in Albuquerque. And it was for a large general contractor that did insurance mitigation and storm restoration. We worked for them as a sub, and right in the midst of that, they already had boots on the ground out in Florida from Hurricane Ivan, and then Hurricane Irma had hit. So the company that I'm referring to was actually in charge of managing the La Quinta rebuilds in Puerto Rico, Galveston, Texas, and in Florida. So they asked me and my father, hey, would you guys be interested in going out there? We have a ton of rebuild to do. We need some really good project managers who know what they're doing, know how to pull permits, know how to get people to do the work and kind of get it done for us. So we kind of laughed at each other and said, hey, we'll try anything. So my father and I went out to Florida, and that was where I got my baptism by fire in the insurance claims world.
Yeah.
And literally that's what the RVP we were working for said is what it was. And, during that process, those year or whatnot, I asked my dad, how come we never really touched the storm industry back home? And we always had, government contracts secured and private enterprise. But we just never got into storm work. And that really got my mind thinking that we're missing a huge opportunity in the market. So when we had finished up that project, I came back home, and it was the day I was actually building a McDonald's for another contractor back home. And I got one of my buddies called me, and he said, hey, man, you still got your license? I said, yeah. He said, what do you think about doing roofs? I said, oh, man, I'm scared. I don't want to be a roofer, Yeah. And he said, come on, man, let's try it. There's some good money in this, and I think you might like it. So I gave it a try, and we did really, really good. The first 6 months, we were very successful, and I started growing the business, and I started it as a sole proprietorship, and then as we gained success really rapidly within the first 6 months, we ended up coming up with the name Custom. And Custom Construction Solutions, we were entering the market as a full-service general contractor. And but I wanted a catchy name so that when people heard us, they could refer to us as that. So Custom was what it was abbreviated to. And as we started building the business, I realized that I really didn't like roofing, but I more enjoyed building a brand. And that's, kind of what I've tailored the company to today is, we are a customer service company that does roofing, and my main role in the business is creating the brand identity, and having the vision for our brand. So that brings us pretty much in a fast-paced speed to today. This year in 2024, we just expanded into the second market, which is Dallas, Texas, and the surrounding areas. And, we have some expansion into a few other states within the next couple years.
That's awesome, man. How does hesitation, right? Because it sounded like you had some hesitation, like roofing. How does hesitation turn into the big vision that you have today?
I think the biggest lesson that I learned in hesitation is it's our comfort zone, Jim. And one of the biggest things that's resonated with me at, a lot of the mindset conferences that I attend, and with individuals who are successful that I talk to and that mentor me, is that we got to step outside of our comfort zone. Success is right outside of the comfort zone, and hesitation, we hesitate because we like to be comfortable. So once we break that and we step outside of that comfort zone, that's when it allows us to take risk and reap the benefits of that risk and enjoy that reward.
Yeah. What were some of the moments along the way that has allowed you to be faithful in the opportunity that's in front of you, right? That you're like, man, we've had these things happen. We've executed in this manner. That allows me to be confident that when we open up this next market and we go to the next market, and as we do this expansion, like, what are some of those things along the way that's like reinforced your confidence in the team and your company in the ability to execute on that?
Yeah, I would say one of the first things that comes to mind is the culture that we've built. We're not just building a company, but we've also built a culture. So helping individuals within the team, within the brand, develop on a personal level, and hearing the feedback from them and seeing them grow and seeing them take swing at the opportunity that's before them, and seeing them partake in the vision and wanting to be more of a part of a process of that expansion and development is definitely inspirational and reassuring to us as we're building the brand. We're looking to expand. I think that's one of the biggest things, is creating a culture where you have good people that are willing to grow with you. And also, finding people that are young in the industry. When I was, younger in the industry, everybody was saying that construction's a dying trade. So, reaching out to the youth, and making the roofing job and the sales aspect of it look appealing to today's youth, and make people excited to be part of something bigger, I think is always inspirational and gives us the reassurance we need to keep on going and keep on growing at all times. Also, it goes back to the client aspect too. We're really not nothing without our happy clients. So, and just hearing them, stopping by the job after the build or during the build, and just, seeing the customers and clients just delighted with joy that we were able to help them, that the crew did a good job. They're even recording videos to say hi to the crew after the fact and wish them well on that day, wherever job site they're on. And just making those connections in the community is big for us too. With a lot of the events that we put on, it's all about engaging the community, and just being part of something bigger, and kind of carrying that culture that we have in the brand out into the community. Yeah. And then, going places in public, while we're in branded gear, being stopped at restaurants saying, hey, that company did my roof, and just, being able to have a interaction with those clients and, see who they worked with, how it went, if there's any feedback, positive or negative, that we can grow from. And just getting that reassurance from the community is always, favorable to us too, and reassures us of our vision and our commitment, and, kind of gives us that gas to keep on going, if you would.
Yeah, man, that's awesome. That it's, I've heard it a long time ago. It's like when you don't want salespeople, you want sold people, right? And you get sold people when they are sold on the result of your performance, right? That there's something wonderful that's going to happen with this customer, right? The problem is going to be solved and that person is going to be taken care of in an exceptional way. That doesn't happen every day in roofing, but it's also a challenge, right? It's construction. So like stuff's going to happen. What are some things that you guys do to ensure that customer experience is to the level that you want it to be?
One of the main things that we implemented early on was a CRM, and that really helped us keep everything organized, create a process that could be streamlined, and just putting together an office staff and utilizing AI to execute that process has been part of that as well. But just ideally building a process that was customer service focused, keeping certain communication, setting mile markers within the CRM to trigger the messages to be sent out to the homeowners. And just the follow-up, was another thing too that was big and key to our growth and ensuring that we had happy clients. A lot of times when we would get leads through the Google My Business and customers would accidentally call our company and they were looking for another company, it always seemed like they were chasing something down. So, providing that customer service, being organized and making sure that the client's taken care of was key to us in implementing that process into our sales team. And not just implementing it, but showing them the benefit of when you take care of the customer, you're going to get referrals, you're going to get repeat business, things of that nature. And, you don't need to work harder, but smarter. And, I tell my guys all the time, when our customers get a flat tire, I want them to think of you guys before they think of calling AAA. That way we know we gave them that level of customer service and they feel comfortable and know that they're taken care of.
Yeah, it's a different way of thinking about it, right? It's like we're going to go above and beyond. One of the things you said that I think is interesting, because, we listen to a lot of phone calls that come in and to our clients' businesses, and we're like, there's a lot of those calls for other companies.
Yeah.
Like, can you imagine, and this is for everyone listening, man, if they don't even know what company to call to get an answer to their question, like, you're really dropping the ball, right? Like, there's, like, not only do they don't know who to call, they don't know who their point of contact is, you've really let that customer down if that's you. Like, that's a simple thing, but so many times that ball gets dropped. Let's go back to the culture a little bit, because all of it is culture, I think, in what you're saying. Like, a lot of it, it's like, okay, the customer experience, how our reps and how our production teams are treating the customers, how we're fixing and solving solutions, how we're communicating, really thinking about that from a cultural standpoint. How do you get, like, what are you doing? You'd mentioned the youth, appealing to youth. And I know, like, if we watch your Instagram, you'll kind of know, like, if people tune into your Instagram, they'll probably see a little bit of what that means, because you've done a great job of being I don't know if I want to put, like, social media personality, right? And that is the youth, right? That is youthful. What do you think of in appealing to the youth? Like, explain that a little bit more.
So one of the big things we do is we partner with, like, a lot of locally owned businesses, the local sports teams, and just do things. I think a lot of times when people do things, they think of what's the ROI on this investment. And sometimes you got to just invest money without an ROI to give back to the community. And I think that's where it's very transparent at that point. Like, you can have an event where the community comes out and they pay for things, or you can have an event where the community comes out and gets everything for free. And that really is giving back to the community. And when you do that, like, when we do our events, we'll have jumpers, we'll have a car show, we'll have a DJ, mariachis, some of the soccer players from our local soccer team there with, their jersey signed or soccer ball signed or cleats signed. We'll have, fresh popsicles there. The kids love that stuff. Just any way to, not just market to the parents, but to show them that their families matter too. It's not just the consumer directly that we're targeting. but, want to let them know that, hey, we're a roofing company. We are here for profit, but at the same time, we see the value in taking care of the community that we work in and give back to that community. And just me having kids personally, it's always weighed strong on my heart. The city that I'm from isn't a very high earning city. So I was a kid who came from, struggled opportunities and things like that. And I just think about what I appreciated as a youth growing up, and thinking that kind of mindset when we're giving back to the youth. We want to put on events that are engaging and intriguing to the young minds, that aren't just focused on a construction industry or a construction mindset, but actually get with them on their level and do something for them that they enjoy, versus something that's profitable or going to return an investment for the business owner.
So that's where I think is an important distinction to make. And you had mentioned it earlier that you focus on the brand of the company. That's your job, right? There's your brand, that's brand, right? And it's a weird thing. People don't want to invest in their brand. To me, it's weird because that investment in brand, you have a brand whether you know it or not. So that's the first thing. So if you are intentional about what your brand is and what it represents, what you support, what you don't support, those are the brand expressions that happen that people can connect to before they need you. Right?
Correct.
And so that when they do need you, they go, I connect with this company. I want to work with this company. That's what brand is. There was no Facebook ad for the Air Maxes that I bought recently, right? There was no there was no direct Google ad for the watch or it's not there. It's brand, right? It's all brand, 100% brand. So I love the way you're doing this and so how are you looking at, because I love the involvement in the community. Let's talk a little bit more about events. You guys do events as marketing, but also just to be a part of the community, because you are a part of the community, right? I think that there's such a missed opportunity there for a lot of contractors. Maybe it's not them. This is another thing, Rob. It's you and it's in you. This is part of you. You're because it's your heart, right? Where it may not be someone else's heart. So if it is not your heart to be at the Little League game and to, do these things, it'll show through that way too. But if it is within you that you want to give back to the community and you want to do things for the community, boy, that shows also. Let's talk through, where did you get the idea first? Where did the event idea start with? Where did the inception of this happen?
So just to take a step back, yeah, like you said, Jim, you got to always be organic. If you're organic, people can definitely read that and it shows. The ideas of the events. So I have a brother-in-law who is a franchise owner of multiple local restaurants that were started back in our hometown. And I have a lot of friends who are doing the food truck thing and stuff like that my family loved to go and eat out on the weekend or just support their small business. So the idea came to mind of how can I help these guys grow their business, without just, helping them or, being there. I knew nothing about food trucks or anything of that nature. So I wanted to kind of help them. And at the same time, I realized that me and my wife and our kids really enjoyed it as well. So just, we got our first office a couple years ago and we said, hey, now that we have a hub, let's put together a really cool community event. Where we could just have everybody come and show off their locally owned business. We can have free food for our past, future, and community members. Potential clients. We can have some of the soccer players come out. We can have a DJ. We can have some mariachis. We got the local Hispano Chamber of Commerce to make the announcement about our new location. We did a ribbon cutting. So we really just wanted to kind of have a big event and include everybody in it. So that was how we did it, was our first event. And just, hearing the feedback, the turnout, and, seeing all the smiles on the kids' faces and our community members, and just getting to engage with people that weren't even our customers, but just, we're in the community, seeing what we were doing, stop by, whatever. And just hearing the feedback of how they appreciated what we were doing. Wow, people should do this more often. And that was the big indicator that, hey, people like this too. So it was a way for us to connect, and on a different level that wasn't a sales pitch.
Yeah. Now, as this has progressed, so that was an office opening. Don't let a good opportunity pass you by, right? Event, milestones in your business, like a new office opening, are a reason, right? They're a reason to invite your past customers, future customers, they're a reason to get people together. But sometimes we don't have to wait for those big milestones, right? I think that a lot of times along the way in your business, you can celebrate small things, and you don't have to do a big event around it. But what I mean by that is create maybe a social media, create social media content around something that you're doing. So I'm trying to bring it back to someone who's not well, we don't have a new office, we can't do this event, right? Well, no, but what if you, what if you're just creating social media content around, maybe donating to a food drive, if that's a passion of yours, right? Maybe it's maybe working out, going and working at the local Habitat for Humanity home that they're building, or something like that. Or, I have some guys on the podcast, True North Construction, their local Little League snack shack was in disorder, so they just were hey, we'll go rebuild it, right? We'll go, but in rebuilding it, they made it they put a video camera on themselves while they were doing it, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's tons of ideas, and it's just about getting out there and, getting out in the community versus just being digital. We gotta be the creator of that opportunity sometimes too. Yeah. So even if you don't have a new office space, another idea is going to a local business that's just having a grand opening. Go make content there of you and your family, patronizing that business, post that online, tag the business. When you do that, you're getting access to their entire following, which is their micro community. Yep. And then they're getting access to your micro community, which is appreciated on both ends. You make some new friends while you're there. You may meet some other local business owners at that event, and be able to put a collaborative event together of your own, or learn about the next event in that circle, if you would. Just about always creating that opportunity, and being open to being creative, and taking that step to do it, whether you know what the outcome is going to be or not. That's one of the biggest thing with content creation, is you just got to get out there and do it. And, based on the content you create and what you post, you'll be able to, look at the data and see what your audience is favoring more than what they're not. Yeah.
And it's a tough one, right? It's a leap of faith when you're doing that, right? But I like to say, if you have faith in the outcome, you'll execute. So
yeah,
if you truly look around you, roofing contractors, there's plenty of indication in the industry that if you do these things, right, the business will come. Now, thinking about your strategy, so you looked around the community. Cool, we could do this community event, bring in these food trucks, we'll do these things. Cool, I'm supporting my friends and family members. I'm doing we'll put this together. How has that evolved? Now, are you seeing opportunities everywhere? Are you oh, there's a local car show, let's go there, or there's a this, there's a that? I heard you mention car show before, so a little bit earlier. So have you found okay, now I see more opportunities to be out there?
Yeah, and not only that, but the opportunities come more to you, kind of being the person who pioneered that in your local town or whatnot. A lot of real estate agents, for example, at my daughter's school, it was Teacher Appreciation Week. So we took the coffee truck over to the school. We did a co-branded cup with the coffee company. It had our logo on one side, their logo on the other. We got donuts. We took care of the entire staff at the school. And, the company was top of mind. The teachers appreciated it. But, other people seen it as well, right? The real estate agents dropping their kids off at school that day, hey, what's going on? What are you guys doing? How did you do it? Why are you doing it? Next thing my friend who owned the coffee truck, he called me and he's like, hey, man, I'm getting booked by all these real estate agents, at all the different schools around town. And I'm like, so then, they have events. The real estate agents will have events. And, since you helped them, it's big collaborative effort. So many people don't want to be collaborative. And I think that's the biggest holdback for so many people in growing is, there's so many of us and we all have a little piece to the puzzle. And if we just shared, it's not going to hurt us, but God's going to reward us and give back to us for being that person. So I think collaborative effort is huge, and just getting out there with, it doesn't even have to be in our industry. Like I mentioned, real estate agents. I mean, they're looking at lots of houses, right? That's our demographic for our clients. So if we can help them out so that they can take a coffee truck to their kids' school, well, then when they have a real estate event, they're going to invite us over to set up our tent, our cornhole toss, whatever we got, and be able to be there to be top of mind to their clients as well. Hey, after you guys buy a house, if you guys need a roof, or if you guys are thinking of selling and you need an inspection before you get to that point, or you just moved in and now you want solar, well, we're top of mind now because we had that shoe in from the real estate agent who they already built rapport with and trust to find them their new home. So now they found their new contractor at the same spot.
And Rob, this sounds like a lot of work. It sounds like it's going to take a long time. I'm just like, but this is where I think people pull away from it sometimes. It's like, man, I got to find people to do this with, and I have to do it's effort, right? You got to have the activity. You got to.
And I can't lie, it is a lot of effort, but growing up, my dad always told me, if you love what you do, you're never going to work a day in your life. And I truly enjoy that. So even though it's crazy and I'm running all over the place in 1,000,001 different directions, I'm enjoying it. I'm having a blast at what I'm doing, connecting people in the community, and just, having fun at what we do, in the industry that wasn't fun.
Yeah. In an industry that working in the roofing industry has not like that. That's not something that people think about as like, wow, that sounds like a fun job, right? Like,
I'll tell you, I never had any of my friends in elementary school say they were going to be a roofer when they grew up, when they all asked us.
None of them, not one, right? So that's awesome. So now have you kind of designed a playbook as you're moving from location to location to replicate the success that you've had with the community events and the relationships that you build that way?
Somewhat of a playbook, but as well as I do, every market's going to respond to things differently. So even though we know what was very successful in one market, we're going to have to test that in every market that we go into. And, just like, digital, for all of our different marketing methods, we have to track which ones are going to be more fruitful. So we do that through a combination of ways. Like when we send out print media, that has a certain number to it. When we put our yard signs up, those have a certain number. When we wrap our vehicles, those have a certain number. If we do a television, TV commercial, those have a different number. And, through the different numbers and managing those, we're able to see where the calls are coming from and what's more fruitful. And once we discover that, that's where we really kind of just zone in and target that and get really good at that specific method of marketing. But at the same time, we always start with the digital presence first. Because it's the easiest way to reach people. Yep. I tell my guys all the time, you can knock, how many doors can you knock in a day? 40 to 100 doors. Well, if you knock digital doors, you can knock probably 1,000 of them in 15 minutes. So again, goes back to the working smarter, not harder. So we always want to first create the brand. We do that digitally, give the company an identity and a face, really focus hard on the SEO, getting the social platforms to reflect and be cohesive to the website and everything that the client's seen. And that took a real turn for us when COVID hit. Everybody got real smart on how they spended their money. People had time to actually do investigation of the companies they were hiring to validate them and make sure that they had licensure and things of that nature. So we wanted to give our guys the upper hand on that. So, being fully digital was something we took advantage of. Also, digitizing our closing process for customers was big at that time too. And we've just kind of evolved from there with it. But whenever we go into a market, with our playbook, the first thing we do is establish a digital presence. After we got that, the team's already there. They start seeing wrapped vehicles. We start getting jobs. Then the yard signs come into play. The wrapped dumpsters, all that type of branding comes into play. Once we start locking up jobs, we'll send out print media and things of that nature. But to kind of loop back to the question. Yes, there is a playbook, but even though there's a playbook, you still got to, work through that playbook and see which plays are going to work best, against this defense, so to say.
That's right. That's the analogy I thought of, right? Like every team in the NFL or any sports team, they'll come in with a game plan, but you're going to make adjustments to the way that what's working and what's not, right? So you're going to start with this. Yeah. And one of the things that I heard from you is you're starting with the way that I frame it as a marketing stack, right? You're coming in with and I like, again, similar to you, like my thought process is you start from the bottom of funnel where people are going first, right? That where, like the digital place, if they're looking for someone, especially if you're new to a market, right? You want to be there when they're looking to make a phone call. And a lot of times that's on, through search, right? And then you're just moving up the funnel, and that top of funnel are the events, right? Like that's where you're building brand awareness in that top of funnel when people know you, so that when they do have a need, but when you starting a new company, moving adding a location, you need to get the business first, right? So you need to get to those people who are in buy mode first. So I love that. But what I heard from you, it's not try one thing, see if it works. If it doesn't work, I try another thing. What I'm hearing from you, and you can tell me if I'm wrong, is that we're going to try these 10 things, and then we're going to make adjustments to these 10 things as we're moving along.
Yes, that's 100% correct. People got to see things at least, I don't know exactly what the number is, but I believe it to be at least 6 to 12 times.
Yep.
So, they may see the wrap truck, they may see the TV commercial, they may see a yard sign, but when they call in, they generally only remember the last engagement that they seen that they actually called from. So whether that be the letter they received in the mail, the postcard, the yard sign, the truck, the website, most of the time it is the website because they've seen the truck and then they go check us out online and then hit the call button. And then when our answering service asks them where they heard about us, it's generally from Google or the Better Business Bureau or some online validating point, essentially, is where it's coming from. But you definitely got to have multiple points of media out there to get people, because not everybody consumes media the same way. Not every demographic is on the social platforms. Not every demographic's driving around all day through neighborhoods. So having these different points of media out there in different marketing aspects gives you the cohesive branding element, and it also establishes for the client peace of mind that they're dealing with a well-established company, that they're going to be here for a while to take care of that 5-year to lifetime warranty that you're trying to sell them on, and just basically giving them what they need to do their due diligence as a homeowner and make that best decision for them and their family.
One of my favorite things to hear, Rob, is I see you everywhere.
Yes.
Right? And when I hear I see you everywhere, like that's it. Like that means that maybe they saw us on social media, they saw us online, offline, they saw us everywhere. And that to me is the goal. Like that's the end goal. You saw me everywhere, because the person who calls and says that, the trust bucket is full, right? Your salespeople are order takers at that time. There's not,
Correct.
it's not a sales process, right? There's no reason to convince anyone of anything. No persuasion involved. The persuasion has already been done.
If they're calling you, 88% of the buying decision's already been made.
Yeah. So that's awesome. One of the things that you've also done in building this brand is video content creation. When did you bring that into the mix? When did you guys start really saying we're going to commit to doing a lot of video?
It was kind of an idea right when I hired the first web designer that I had. He was utilizing a third-party company to create the videos. They were anything but organic, and I felt that. So we kind of had to talk about that as I evolved through web designers, and got with somebody who could do some really good video editing. And that's kind of where I decided to come on social media and put my face behind the brand. And I mean, I was terrified, just like everybody else is, to get in front of a camera. How do I look? How do I sound? What am I going to do with my arms, my hands? Just like everybody told me, you just got to get out there and do it. Once you do it, you can look at the videos. You can, self-coach yourself from there to, hey, maybe I should do this next time, or I got to stop saying so many times. And you just really get refined with it, and you kind of get a style and your own organic style. And, we went from 10 takes to 1 take now on some of the videos, and, again, just having fun with it. And it doesn't have to be perfect.
Yeah.
The clients the audience likes to know that they have a real person in front of them that sometimes says roof instead of roof or whatever, so they laugh at those little things, and it's cool, but they know that it's real and it's taken in an organic sense, and that helps you. One of the other things too was in creating video content, I always like to create stuff that I'm proud of and have good videos out there. But also, we wanted to be ahead of everybody else in the market, in our local market, on how many videos they had. Are they doing this yet? Are they doing that? That way, when they got wind of it, it would take them a long time and a lot of money to catch up to where we were with it. So, the content that we have is, in our little market that we started in New Mexico is, pretty far ahead from a lot of the competitors there in creating that video content, and creating a different variety of it too. Like, we have some video content that's focused specifically for recruiting. We got some video content that's specifically client engagement. Some that's brand identity engagement. So we've done different video content for multi-purposes. So it's not just feeding our audience the same thing so we don't lose traction with them. We want to keep it fresh and keep on rotating through different ideas so that they enjoy consuming that content also.
So when did you start off shooting video yourself or yourselves, or did you bring the videographer in like from day one?
So after I had a web designer at first, and he was paying a third-party company to create the videos.
Got it.
Then when I switched after about the first year, I hired a new web designer, and I had a buddy who was doing videography. So he would shoot the videos, he would edit them, he would send them to the web designer, he would put them online on the different platforms. And to where I am now, the current guy I have, he kind of does it all. He builds the website. He comes out to the events with us, gets the B-roll and the footage and the stock photos for us, and then he creates all the content. He edits it, he puts the music in it, gives it that cohesive branding element, puts the brand, the logos on it, the filters, all that type of stuff. I never really understood it, and versus me trying to learn it, I was good at something, and I wanted to find the person who was great at their craft.
Yeah.
So, just like we tell everybody, you're not going to call the dentist to fix your knee. You're not going to call, the plumber to fix your roof. I'm not going to try to create video content when I got professionals out there like you that could do it for me.
Yeah, that's a great way of looking at it, and it's play to your strengths. Higher, it's those are business decisions, right? I think if you're of a self-employed mindset, and you're trying to just like do everything yourself, that's not a business mindset, right? A business mindset is who can I hire to take this to do this well. I know a lot of people that have done that in the industry, and so what would be some tips that you would have for others to kind of start with that? Like, where do you find a good videographer? What should they look for in a videographer? What is the creative process? What is their is that videographer? I'll start with the first one. Before I get into too many questions, right? Like, let's do. What do you look for? How do you hire? Or what do you look for? How do you hire them? Where do you find them?
Within your network, all the people that I've met were in the network. The first web designer I had, he was a customer of ours. He was one of our first customers. The second web designer I had, I found him. He was making websites for a local home builder that I had known of. I checked out his work. I was intrigued by the work and engaged in the websites that he had built. So that's kind of what led me to working with him. And then he didn't handle the social platforms, and I was kind of desiring a more cohesive look with the social platforms to align with the website. So I was looking for somebody who could do all of that together, which is really rare to find.
Yeah. That's a tough one.
And for him to be good at all of it too is difficult as well. Yeah. And then file storage comes into it too. But I mean, you gotta, I would say, just like, shopping, like when you see something you gotta investigate it a little bit more. Yeah. If there's others out there that look like it, maybe see what's the pros and the cons between the two. Because they're probably not everyone is identical. Not everybody's, deliverables are identical. Everybody's got a different, package that they offer in one way or another. So you just really got to see what works best for you, and what you're looking for. Maybe some people have like somebody in the office who's, savvy with Photoshop and can, take images themselves. They can invest in a nice camera and start there. It just kind of depends on what resources you have at your disposal. Yeah. Playing to your team's, to their strong points. Maybe somebody on the team loves doing photography as a hobby and could help you out to get started. But again, just, scrolling through social media, the content that you really engage with, hey, I might reach out to this guy, see if he's interested in taking on new clients. I wonder what it would cost, and it all starts with the conversation, just being vulnerable and, hey man, I need help. I'm lacking this in my business. What does it cost? Do you offer that service? If not, worst case scenario, they could probably point you in the right direction to somebody that they're working with or in their network that may be able to assist you. I mean, there's guys like you that are right in front of us at the conferences, at the trade shows, part of things like the Pitch Pro movement. And it just takes like asking somebody at those conferences or the movements or the mindset, hey, are you working with Jim? Like, are you happy? Have you worked with other companies? What's better about working with Jim than, one of the smaller guys? You guys getting a lot of leads from what he's doing for you. And, we're just able to utilize our networks more than we think that we can. And I mean, I really encourage people to do that, collaboration. Once again, talk to those people in the community, the Facebook groups. They're good and bad. Some of those people are mean on there. Some of them are really nice. But, if you post a question, chances are somebody's going to give you some tactful criticism that could point you in the right direction or help you out a little bit. So, and if anybody needs, feel free to put my handle in the section below, and they can reach out to me. But yeah, it's all about just using your network and, giving people an opportunity. The worst thing that you can find out is that it didn't work out and you can go another route, but you'll never know until you test those waters.
Yeah, that's a good one. It's like hiring everyone, right? There's like Gary Vaynerchuk has a good quote: hiring is guessing, firing is knowing, right? Like that's what it is, man. Like that's what we do. Yep. One of the things that I thought was a great idea there was, man, just look out around your local community at people who are doing video content. Like if another business or someone's doing video content or they're on social media and you're like, oh, yeah, that looks good. I like the style of that. Find out who did it, right? Find out who did it.
Exactly.
Dig into it. Go and find that out. Now, as you've worked with a couple of different video kind of people on the video side over, what was your third kind of relationship that you've had with the videographer now?
Yes, sir.
Third. Okay. So now you have some experience working with different people, right? Like a lot of times people wonder, man, what should I create content around? Some people on that creative side, they're going to also be like, have ideas, right? Like, so you may not have to be as creative. You may just be the person on camera. How have you working with these different videographers over time now? What do you think a great creative process is, and how is that collaboration between the videographer and your team in the development of that content?
I think some of the best content we've created has just been, organic B-roll of the videographer being at the events, and being in the right place at the right time, and just catching that energy of the team or the client. We really try to avoid staging a lot of our video shoots, just because it doesn't go well. There's a lot of takes. People don't talk like that how we're writing the script. A lot of stuff like that. So the best smiles, and the best feedback has come from, just organic content, catching people on B-roll where they're not standing there smiling for the picture, and, just catching that real energy and engagement has been some of the best content. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. It's funny you say that. One of the, I think I mentioned them, True North Construction, that like, so I've had them on the podcast before, and they hired a videographer. They were going to do this like kind of HGTV style shoot of this build that they were doing. They do interior and exterior renovation work. So they were doing an interior renovation. They were doing a kitchen or something like that. And they hired this videographer, and he came in and he worked with them, and their vision was like HGTV, right? Like the before, after, like during the process. And they hire him, and he comes out, and they're driving around, and he mic'd them up from the time they got to the office. He mic'd everyone up, and he was shooting like the whole time. And when they got the final product, they were like, what is this? It was everything but what they thought it would be. It was what you just said. It was the interactions between the guys. It was the honest conversation. It was the honest moments that were happening. And it was like, that's it. That's so much more powerful than the super scripted, what we were going to do at like HGTV style, like, okay, and we got the kitchen now, and look at this new, it was so much more powerful. So put a mic on, put a camera on yourself, and have someone follow you around with a camera. You'll get good footage.
Just on a daily basis, go out there, get out, visit the job, visit the crews, show people what roofers eat for lunch,
That's right.
Show them that you're human too, and you don't just roof 24/7. I mean, they appreciate that, and you'll learn too from your audience that they engage with that as well.
It's much more engaging, right? Because people connect with people. And so that storytelling is awesome. Value is another thing that I think, if you're making sure that you're creating something, sometimes in that context is value, right? So if you are up on a roof, just tell something valuable about the experience or the inspection that you're doing that's valuable to someone who may need your services in the future. Real simple stuff. It doesn't have to be overcomplicated. Like we overcomplicate too many things in business and in life, What other things that we haven't covered, do you think, like around brand? What are some other things that you think of around brand that maybe we haven't talked about? Because that's been your focus. That seems to really be a core piece of the puzzle for for custom? Like, this is, man, we're going to build this brand. What other things would someone benefit from that a conversation?
I think that one thing that gets overlooked a lot is the crew as well, Jim. Having the crew branded, taking care of them like a lot of people do, the sales guys. For instance, like our crew, we bring lunch to the job site every day for them. We found that helps from people getting lost on the way back from lunch, to doing things during lunch that they shouldn't be doing and then getting back up on the roof. But even more than that, it makes the roofers feel appreciated. So they're happy to go up there and do quality work for us. They also protect our assets and in the way of, safeguarding materials, making sure they're not walking off the job site or they're not wastefully using product or throwing away, full tubes of caulking or half a box of cap nails, stuff like that. So taking care of everybody throughout the organization is going to make them happy and enjoy their workspace, which that energy is going to resonate in the community and also shine light on the brand as well.
That's awesome. I talk about this often, Robin. There's four. I look at four categories of marketing. One is marketing to prospective customers. That's what we think of with marketing most of the time. The second is marketing to your past customers for referrals, right? That's another easy one that people think of a lot of times. But where people miss, I think, is the other two in marketing. And one is marketing to your current team. And that's what you're doing when you're building that culture, when you're doing events with your team, when you're bringing lunch to the crews. Like, that's building that culture, but that's marketing. And then the fourth is to market to future team members. And the marketing to future team members is what you're doing with and for your team currently and expressing that, for the world to see, so that people are like, that's the company I want to work for, right? The crews are like, I want to work for Custom. They take care of everyone, right? They're bringing lunch all at every time. Like, that's something I think people miss and that people don't think about, but that's what builds the culture. Like, so that is correct. That's marketing activity also, man. I just wanted to throw that in there. So that's awesome that you're doing a lot of that stuff. What do you think the greatest insight is that you can share with the audience that's helped you find success in your roofing business?
Consistency, just in, so many people expect, just what we've seen growing up and being Americans, fast food, everything's quick at a moment's snap or a finger's snap. So I think the biggest thing is consistency. Whenever you try something out in building the brand and in marketing, you got to give it time to gain traction. A lot of people will say, oh, I'm going to try this for 30 days and see if it works. It takes more than 60, more than 90, more than 6 months to actually gain traction in the market and, really just get out there and be consistent about what you're doing. If you're handling your own post or you're paying somebody to do it for you, be consistent about it. Hey, we need to have 20 posts a month. We need to have X amount of videos, X amount of reels, X amount of Facebook and YouTube content. You got to be consistent, but you got to write it down. You got to have a plan so that you can execute and see where you fall short of executing, so that when you look at it, you can re-aim your target and try to hit those on the next time around. But I think the biggest thing is just consistency, not just in marketing, not in door knocking, just in life, is being consistent. Having a plan and sticking to it, whether it seems like it's going to work or not. Sticking to the plan is going to be a lot more fruitful than changing it up mid-game through and going a whole different direction. So I think that's the biggest thing that I would attribute most of my success and growth of my business is a consistency of, not just myself, but everybody involved, the marketing team, the sales team, the roofers, our office staff. If people weren't consistent and show up every day, the roofers didn't get to the roof every day, I mean, we'd have a problem somewhere along the line. But I think the biggest thing is consistency and, just coming every day with good, positive energy check the ego at the door, and just stick to the process. I tell so many people, we're lucky. We don't have to invent the process. It's already been invented. We just need to pick somebody that's doing it and just follow in their footsteps. We don't need to alter it. We don't need to change it. We just need to do it and consistently do it. Just like, Adam always tells us about the gym. You got to put it into action, and you got to be consistent about it to reap the benefits and the rewards. And again, that's just anything in life, whether it's marketing, growing a business, trying to hit any specific goal. Consistency is what's going to get you there, along with a positive mindset, good attitude, and a good team behind you.
Awesome, man. Thanks for your time today. This has been another episode of the Roofing Success Podcast. If you would like to generate more revenue through your digital marketing efforts, please visit roofermarketers.com to get a copy of the book, The Best Known Roofer. Also, check the training section of the website for guides on everything from running effective pay-per-click ads to how to properly set up your Google My Business listing. Thanks for listening.